Hi guys, in this video lecture we will discuss another important lecture from the master gland of our body that is called as pituitary gland. Now this pituitary gland, it have two lobes. The first one, that is the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, while the second one, that is the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. But in the lower classes we have discuss another lobe of the pituitary gland, that is called as intermediate lobe. But in this lecture we will mainly focus on this lobe, the intermediate lobe of the pituitary glands and its functions. Now first of all, this is actually this oral structure of the pituitary gland. Now this pituitary gland, it have two lobes. The first one, that is the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, and the second one, that is the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Now the anterior lobe, it have two portion. One is called as pars tubularis, the second one, that is pars distalis, and the third one, that is pars intermedia. Now this pars distalis, it is the part of the anterior lobe that mainly surround the infundibulum, or you can say the stalk of the pituitary gland. While pars distalis is actually the body of the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. While pars intermedia, it is basically the part of the anterior lobe that is connected with the posterior lobe. Now this pars intermedia, it is actually the intermediate lobe of the pituitary glands. But here's this intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland, it is less developed in humans. Now this pars intermedia, it is medialis, this is actually the intermediate lobe of the pituitary glands. Now let us discuss a little history of the intermediate lobe of the pituitary glands. So the first scientist, that is Gustav Retzius, so he identified the intermediate lobe as a destined structure that is mainly found in the pituitary glands. So he for the first time identified the intermediate lobe of the pituitary glands. Now in the history, the second scientist, that is Harvey Cushing, so he described the role of this intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland, that it have a role in the skin pigmentations. The third scientist, that is Herbert Evans, so he demonstrated its embryological origins from Rutherfords. So actually the pituitary gland, it is arise from the Rethke pouch that we have discussed already in the development of the pituitary gland. So this intermediate lobe, it is actually arise from the Rethke pouch. So you can simply say that this intermediate lobe, it is a part of the anterior lobe of the pituitary glands. So this intermediate lobe, it is actually more developed in fishes and amphibians. So this intermediate lobe, it is basically more developed in fishes and amphibian, but absent in birds and mammals. Now how skin pigmentation in human occurs, that we will discuss later on. But here you can focus only the intermediate lobes. So here some of the unique characteristics of the intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland are mentioned here. The first one, that is less developed in human as compared to the other animals. So this intermediate lobe, it is basically more developed in fishes and amphibian that we have already discussed here. But in case of the humans that belong to the mammals, they have a less developed intermediate lobe. The second characteristic, that is not well understood in human due to limited research. So we don't have enough information about the intermediate lobe. So that's why it is less developed in human because of limited research. We have a limited information about the intermediate lobe in humans. So that's why we say that it is less developed or not developed in humans. The third one, that is it is present between the anterior lobe and the posterior lobes. So this is about the location where this intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland, it is located. Now this intermediate lobe, it have important function because it release a hormone that is called as melanocyte stimulating hormones. So this is basically it contain and 12 to 18 amino acids, and this melanocyte stimulating hormone that is released by the intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland, it will act on the melanocytes that is mainly found in our skins. Now when this MSH, it will act on the melanocytes, so it will release melanin from these melanocyte cells. Now this melanin, it is basically, we have three type of the melanin on the basis of their colors, and in their location we have three type of the melanins. The first one, that is neuromelanin, the second one, that is pumelanin, and the third one, that is eumelanin. That is, we are familiar with this eumelanins. Now the first one, that is neuromelanin. So this is basically, as the name indicate, neural. So this is found in our nervous system, that is mainly found in the brainstem and spinal cords. So this is the location where this melanin is present, so that's why it is called as neuromelanins. Now what is the function of neuromelanins? So their function is not clearly known, but it is believed that it will protect the brain from heavy metal oxidation. So this is the function of the new melanin and their location where this melanin it is located. The second one, that is pumelanin. Now pumelanin, it is basically, it have the color that is the combination of the yellow and reddish. Now this pumelanin, it is basically located in the mouth, anus and vaginal tissues. So this is the pumelanins. Now the third one, that is eumelanin. So eumelanin, it is basically the black or brown in colors. Now this eumelanin, it is basically located in the skin and the hair region. Now this melanin are actually the main melanin that we are concerned here. Now the question is that in humans, this intermediate lobe, it is actually absent, or you can say less developed. Now how the skin pigmentation or the melanin are produced in the humans? So actually, right at the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, a large polypeptide are released by the anterior lobe of the pituitary glands. Now this large polypeptide, it is called as promelanocorticofins. So this is a large polypeptide released by the anterior lobe of the pituitary glands. Now when the breakdown of this promelanocorticofin occurs, so it will produce some substances, or you can say some hormones. The first one, that is beta lipotrophins, beta endorphins, MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormones. These hormones are actually formed from the breakdown of this large polypeptides. Now this beta lipotrophin, it will help in lipid metabolism. Beta endorphin, it will help in pain relieving. This melanocyte stimulating hormone, it will act on the melanocyte and will release melanin from the melanocytes. So this is basically how this MSH it produced in the humans. As we have already discussed this, the intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland, it will secrete the melanocyte stimulating hormones. So these MSH are basically F protein containing hormones. So basically this MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone, it will contain a 12 to 18 amino acids. Now when this MSH, it will secrete it from the intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland. This MSH, it will act on the melanocyte cell that are mainly located in our skins. Now when this MSH, it will act on the melanocytes, so inside the melanocyte, the synthesis of the red pigment, or you can say the melanin, occurs. Now the question is that how this melanin it is synthesized in the melanocytes. So you can see here, this is the oral pathway how this melanin are synthesized in the melanocytes. So inside our body we have the essential amino acids that is called as phenylalanine. This is basically an essential amino acids. Now this phenylalanine, it will convert it into the another amino acid that is called as tyrosines. So here's an enzyme act on this phenylalanine and will convert the phenylalanine into the tyrosines. So the enzyme that is called as phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. Now this hydroxylase enzyme, it will act on the phenylalanine and will convert it into the another amino acid that is called as tyrosines. Now this tyrosine, it is converted into the dopamine with the help of copper containing enzyme that is called as tyrosinase enzyme. Now this tyrosinase enzyme, this is actually a copper containing enzyme. Now this tyrosinase enzyme, it will act on tyrosine in amino acid and will convert it into the dopamines. So in the next step, the same tyrosinase enzyme, it will act on the dopamine and will convert it into the dopaquinones. So tyrosinase enzyme, it will form the dopaquinones. So here are two pathway occurs. So this dopaquinone, it is spontaneously converted into the leucodopachromes. So this process, it will occur spontaneously and will form leucodopachromes from the dopaquinones. Now this leucodopachrome that are spontaneously formed from the dopaquinones, so it is converted into the dihydroxyandols. So further this dihydroxyandol, it is converted into the indole 5,6-quinones. Now this indole 5,6-quinone, it is basically converted into the melanochromes. So this is actually the black melanin that is found in our skins and hairs. So this is the black melanin synthesis occur in the melanocytes. So if we look to the another pathway, this dopaquinone, it will combine with another amino acids, that is the cysteine amino acids. So when this cysteine, it will combine with the dopaquinone, it will form the red melanin. So this is the overall process how the melanin are synthesized in the melanocytes. So this is overall about the intermediate lobe of the pituitary gland and its role in the skin pigmentations. Thank you so much.